All right, guys. It's Miss Rose again, and I wanted to show you what an annotated essay looks like when I annotate it, and talk to you a little bit about what I'm thinking as I annotate it. And then I'm going to show you my jot outline that I did after reading and annotating this text, so that I have a plan before I start writing. So, um, in the beginning of the year, we talked a great deal about the rhetorical situation, and we went through the process of writing rhetorical situation sentences. And I worry that that may have confused you when we start to talk about the thesis paragraph. Um, the process of recognizing the rhetorical situation is exceptionally important. But when you write your intro paragraph, you don't really need to tell me so much. And again, I know that we've talked about that, but I know that a lot of you take some things from this prompt to incorporate into your thesis paragraph. My suggestion is to let the information guide your thinking, to help you understand what's going on, but there's no need to get real elaborate in that first paragraph. So when you're reading the prompt, just get really clear, what are they asking you to do? So let's see. The big thing here, I'm supposed to analyze the rhetorical choices Gandhi makes to present his case to Lord Irwin. So I'm really going to be discussing how he's presenting his case, what those rhetorical strategies are, and ultimately, I need to be kind of imagining how the viceroy would be responding in response to uh, Gandhi's case. Okay. Now, when I read, you notice I have like lots of little things underlined, and there's squiggly lines, and there's boxes, and there's circles, and there's triangles. And what that's called is tracking. So, a lot of time when I'm reading, I quickly begin to pick up on things like diction that may feel negative, diction that may feel positive, or words that are being repeated, or ideas. Um, and I just kind of track it. I kind of try to make sense of it. I'm doing this very quickly. It probably took me 3 minutes to go through and do this. If I have kind of like an aha moment or something where I really want to focus in on something, I might write it out. But I'm annotating only for me, for my mind, to help my mind kind of slow down, get focused, and to really look for the things that I'm being asked to look for. And as I do this, what I'm also doing is looking for sections. Um, sorry. So I'm looking for the obvious sections of meaning in the piece because I'm planning to write this chronologically. So as I annotate it, I'm kind of writing it. And so I'm really starting to think, okay, this first section is doing this, the second section is doing this final section does this. And that way, as I'm talking about the sections in my essay, I have this line of reasoning. And if you want to start talking about that sophistication point, what I'm doing is I'm going to be able to connect the complexity of these choices to the complexities of these other choices, kind of have them sort of interact with each other. And I'm going to be showing how I see how these pieces fit together to the ultimate purpose or case, as they've mentioned here. So, my first section, I really think what he's doing is sort of defining what nonviolence is and how he plans to use it and what he hopes to happen because of that. In the second section, you see this push to really begin to define why the SALT Act is their first kind of major act in response to some of the oppressive tactics of the British. And then the final section is a and he sort of kind of talks about it being a diplomatic duty that he let him know when it will begin, and that, and then there's that one final repeated request to reach out. And then I love how he brings in the English supporter of the Indian movement who kind of has been sent to Gandhi through Providence to bring the letter to him. And I love that because I think Gandhi has a wit about him. I think that he has kind of a playful understanding of human nature a little bit. I mean, the British themselves are, um, definitely think they're ordained by God to be the colonizer, kind of, and the whole history behind going in and colonizing. Asian countries, colonizing African countries, all of this happened because of this sort of like, I guess, idea that they would be, somehow saving people from themselves and kind of bringing God, Christianity, what have you, to these masses, to these communities. And of course, that's just covering up the more oppressive things that were done to achieve kind of control over these countries. So I just like how he kind of throws that in. So he flips the narrative a little bit there, and ends there. And so I can just kind of imagine him sort of uh, being happy with himself for kind of coming up with that. It just feels like a little bit of Gandhi wit, and I love it. So anyway, that third section is that kind end, and it just serves to reinforce. First, there's no stopping them, and of course, this isn't meant to threaten as much as it is meant to help. So now I have my three sections, and I stop and I take a minute to write my jot outline. Now, my jot outline doesn't take me longer than about 2 minutes. I really am just taking a minute to look at my annotations. So I'm looking at them all, and I kind of quickly jot out what I think the purpose is, and I quickly sort of jot down what I think the big ideas, the big things happening in the beginning, middle, and end. And then this becomes another grounding tool, just like that thesis paragraph, just like a really nicely written one that has some layers of meaning that's going to ground me in developing a line of reasoning that's complex. So too does my outline, because it does a couple of things. It's forcing me to now look at what I've read and organize it, but also now I have this thing written down that I can go back to when my brain starts to go all over the place, because it happens. You're stressed, you get on a roll, then you get stuck, and you need something to go back to remind yourself, okay, 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 now I can keep. Okay. So even though it may feel like it's a time waster, if you get these jot outlines, and they can be really quick. I just typed it up so you can read my writing. Um, it really is a time saver, and it helps soothe you with that testing anxiety that happens, that I know many of you feel when you're writing these. So I just kind of throw my purpose out there. I'm going to get it into a sophisticated wording later. And then with the beginning, I really kind of try to look at everything that's happening in that beginning section. So I know the types of things that I want to talk. Then I go through the middle and the end. Okay. So I usually find at least two main sections, if not three. And then if I have time to really develop that third body paragraph, I will. But if I don't, I'm still going to attend to that third section in my second body paragraph to at least acknowledge things that are happening, so that I can have talked about how everything connects from beginning to end, because that's the key to the sophistication, that you reveal that you've grasped the ultimate meaning, the nuanced meaning. Okay. All right. So that's how to do a jot outline. That's how to mark the text. You should be using these strategies to help you. Do not skip them. There's been lots of research done about this test, about things that successful students do. So everything I'm telling you to do is research based. I've taught the course for a very long time. These are the things that lead to the high scores. These are the things to start to hone on your own, not through collusion or thinking you need to open the internet to get ideas. You've got to start getting the ideas from your mind, even if they're not, delivered with, you can deliver your ideas in a simplistic way. It doesn't have to be all fancy. So that's the other thing. You don't have to have necessarily all the words or the background knowledge that I have. You just have to be able to recognize the strategies and be able to explain how they're working to build his case and what you think that case is. Okay, hope this helps.